Long before cities filled the horizon with light, before clocks measured the hours of the night, and before telescopes revealed the immense distances between the stars, there was something that every human being shared. No matter where they lived, no matter what language they spoke, and no matter which century they called home, they could step outside after sunset, lift their eyes toward the heavens, and find themselves beneath the same vast canopy of stars. Tonight, we will take a slow and peaceful journey into that ancient relationship between humanity and the night sky. We will travel across deserts and mountains, through river valleys and forests, across distant civilizations separated by oceans and centuries. Yet despite their differences, these peoples shared a common experience. They looked upward into the darkness and wondered. The stars were among the first mysteries our ancestors encountered. They appeared each evening with remarkable consistency, shining silently above the world while rivers flowed below, seasons changed, and generations came and went. Unlike mountains which could be touched or forests which could be explored, the stars remained forever beyond reach. Their distance made them mysterious. Their beauty made them unforgettable. Imagine standing beside a small fire thousands of years ago. Around you stretches a landscape untouched by artificial light. Perhaps you are in a desert where the sand still holds the warmth of the day. Perhaps you are beside a river flowing quietly through a fertile valley. Perhaps you stand upon a grassy plain where the horizon seems endless. Above you, the sky is filled with more stars than most people today ever have the opportunity to see. The Milky Way stretches across the heavens like a glowing river. Countless stars shimmer in every direction. Some appear brighter than others. Some seem to form patterns. A few wander slowly across the sky from season to season. Night after night, these lights repeat their movements with astonishing precision. For ancient observers, such regularity inspired both comfort and curiosity. The stars seemed dependable. They returned each evening. They followed familiar paths. They marked the changing seasons and guided travelers through darkness. Yet they also raised questions. What were these lights? Why did they move as they did? What lay beyond them? Without modern astronomy, people turned to the tools they knew best: observation, imagination, storytelling, and reflection. The night sky became a canvas upon which entire civilizations painted their understanding of the universe. Some saw gods traveling across the heavens. Others imagined celestial rivers, sacred animals, heroic figures, or great cosmic journeys unfolding above the earth. Constellations became stories. The movements of stars became calendars. The sky itself became a bridge between the visible world and realms of mystery. What makes these ancient interpretations so fascinating is that they reveal something deeply human. The stars themselves did not change, yet each culture found its own meanings among them. The same night sky that stretched above Egyptian temples also shone over Greek islands, Chinese mountains, Arctic forests, and vast plains inhabited by countless indigenous peoples. Different stories emerged, yet all began with the same act of looking upward in wonder. And perhaps that wonder still lives within us today. Even now, when we understand far more about the cosmos than our ancestors ever could, there remains something calming about standing beneath a clear night sky. The stars encourage us to slow down. They remind us of vast distances, long stretches of time, and the simple beauty of observation. Beneath them, the concerns of daily life often feel quieter, smaller, and less urgent. So as the night settles gently around us, allow yourself to imagine those ancient observers scattered across the world. Imagine them watching the first stars appear above rivers, deserts, forests, and mountains. Imagine the conversations they shared, the stories they created, and the meanings they discovered among the lights overhead. Tonight, we will walk beside them beneath the oldest ceiling humanity has ever known. The night sky awaits, vast and silent, filled with stories carried across thousands of years beneath the same eternal stars. The first night watchers. Long before written language preserved stories on stone, clay, parchment, or paper, there were people who spent their evenings beneath open skies. They lived in a world illuminated not by lamps and cities, but by firelight, moonlight, and the countless stars overhead. As darkness settled across the landscape each night, the heavens revealed themselves in extraordinary detail, transforming the sky into one of the most familiar and mysterious features of daily life. Imagine a small group of people gathered beside a fire tens of thousands of years ago. Around them stretches a landscape untouched by modern development. There are no roads glowing in the distance, no towers of light interrupting the horizon, and no artificial brightness competing with the stars. Above them rises an immense celestial dome filled with countless points of light, so numerous and vivid that the sky appears almost alive. For these early observers, the stars were not a hobby or a scientific subject. They were a constant presence. Night after night, year after year, the heavens followed recognizable patterns. Certain stars appeared in one season and disappeared in another. Familiar constellations returned at predictable times. The moon changed shape according to a rhythm that could be observed by anyone willing to pay attention. Without realizing it, these ancient people were becoming some of humanity's first astronomers. They may not have used that word, and they certainly lacked telescopes, observatories, and mathematical models, yet they possessed something equally important: patience. Generation after generation watched the sky. They noticed details. They remembered patterns. They shared observations with others. Over time, entire communities developed a remarkable understanding of celestial cycles simply through careful attention. Imagine sitting beside that ancient fire. The flames crackle softly. The air is cool. Somewhere nearby, a river moves quietly through the darkness. Above, the Milky Way stretches across the sky like a luminous pathway. As the hours pass, the stars slowly shift their positions. The movement is subtle, almost impossible to detect moment by moment, yet unmistakable over the course of a night. Such observations naturally inspired questions. Why do the stars move? Why does the moon change shape? Why do some stars appear only during certain seasons? Why does the sky seem to rotate around a fixed point? These questions emerged long before written records, and they represent some of humanity's earliest attempts to understand the larger universe. Yet the answers were not always sought through measurement alone. Ancient people lived in a world where observation and imagination worked together. The stars were not merely objects, they were companions in the night. They inspired stories, symbols, lessons, and explanations that helped people make sense of their surroundings. A group of stars might become a hunter, another might become a bird, a river, or a great animal crossing the heavens. Bright planets wandering among the constellations could appear as travelers moving through a celestial landscape. The sky became a place where memory, observation, and storytelling met. Perhaps one of the most beautiful aspects of these early sky watchers is the patience their observations required. There was no way to speed up the movement of the stars or hurry the arrival of a new season. Understanding emerged gradually, accumulated across many nights and many years. Children learned from parents, parents learned from elders. knowledge flowed through generations like a river, moving steadily toward the sea. In many ways, the night sky became humanity's first great classroom. It taught cycles, it taught patience, it taught observation. It revealed patterns hidden within apparent chaos. Most importantly, it encouraged people to look beyond their immediate surroundings and contemplate something larger than themselves. As the fire burns lower and the stars continue their slow journey across the heavens, imagine those ancient observers settling into silence. The stories have been shared, the questions have been asked. Above them, the sky remains vast and mysterious, inviting further wonder. And among the earliest civilizations, to transform that wonder into a rich celestial vision, were the people who lived along the banks of one of the world's most famous rivers. There, beneath clear desert skies and above the waters of the Nile, the stars became part of a cosmic story that connected Earth, gods, life, and eternity. Toward the moonlit world of ancient Egypt, our journey now gently drifts. The sky above ancient Egypt, along the fertile banks of the Nile, where the river flowed steadily through deserts of gold and amber, the people of ancient Egypt developed one of the most enduring relationships with the night sky in human history. For thousands of years, they observed the heavens with extraordinary attention, finding within the stars not only beauty and mystery, but also guidance, meaning, and a profound connection to the rhythms of life itself. Imagine an evening in ancient Egypt more than 3,000 years ago. The heat of the day has begun to fade. Palm trees stand motionless beside the river. The waters of the Nile reflect the final colors of sunset, while distant temples glow softly beneath the last light of the horizon. As darkness gradually settles across the landscape, one star after another begins to appear overhead. The sky grows deeper, richer, and more expansive until it becomes a vast canopy of brilliant lights stretching across the desert night. For the Egyptians, this celestial world was never separate from the world below. The heavens were not viewed as an empty space beyond human reach. They were alive with meaning. The sky itself was often imagined as the goddess Nut, whose immense form arched gracefully over the earth. In artistic depictions, she stretched from one horizon to the other, her body covered with stars that shimmered across the darkness. Each evening she welcomed the sun into her embrace, and each morning she gave birth to it once again, creating a cycle that mirrored the eternal rhythms of nature. This image transformed the night sky into something intimate and familiar. Rather than a distant expanse, it became part of a living cosmos where every sunrise and sunset carried symbolic significance. The daily journey of the sun across the heavens reflected a larger story of renewal, continuity, and balance. Just as the Nile flooded and receded according to reliable patterns, the movements of celestial bodies revealed an underlying order that governed the universe. Among the countless stars visible above Egypt, few were more important than Sirius. Known today as the brightest star in the night sky, its annual appearance held tremendous significance. Each year, shortly before the flooding of the Nile, Sirius would emerge in the dawn sky after a period of invisibility. This event became one of the most important markers in the Egyptian calendar, helping communities anticipate the arrival of life-giving waters that nourished their fields and sustained their civilization. Imagine standing beside the Nile during one of these mornings. The horizon begins to brighten with the first hints of dawn. The air is cool and still. Then, just above the eastern horizon, a brilliant point of light appears. For generations of observers, this star was more than a celestial object. It was a trusted signal woven into the fabric of daily life, connecting the heavens to the fertile earth below. The Egyptian night sky also served as a place of navigation, reflection, and spiritual imagination. Priests carefully observed celestial movements from temple complexes. Farmers noted seasonal changes reflected in the heavens. Travelers used familiar stars to orient themselves during nighttime journeys. Over time, these observations accumulated into a remarkably sophisticated understanding of recurring celestial cycles. Yet despite this practical knowledge, the stars never lost their sense of wonder. They remained symbols of eternity, reminders of a universe far larger than any single human life. The same constellations watched over countless generations. Kings, laborers, priests, merchants, and farmers all looked upward and found themselves beneath the same sky. As the night deepens above the Nile, stars fill every corner of the heavens. Their reflections shimmer gently upon the water. Desert sands cool beneath the moonlight. The temples grow quiet. Somewhere in the darkness, an observer lifts their gaze toward the celestial river flowing overhead and wonders about the mysteries hidden among those distant lights. And among those mysteries was the nightly journey of the sun itself, a story that carried Egyptian imagination across the heavens and through the deepest hours of the night. Toward that ancient celestial voyage, our journey now slowly continues. The sun's journey through the night. For the people of ancient Egypt, the setting of the sun was not viewed as an ending. Each sunset marked the beginning of a remarkable journey, one that unfolded beyond the visible world while most of humanity slept beneath the stars. As darkness spread across the Nile Valley and the last traces of daylight disappeared beyond the western horizon, many Egyptians imagined the sun continuing its voyage through a hidden realm, traveling across the night before returning once more at dawn. Imagine standing beside the river as evening slowly arrives. The sky glows with soft shades of gold, amber, and deep blue. Palm trees cast long shadows across the water. Birds settle among the reeds. The great disk of the sun descends gradually toward the horizon until it finally slips from sight. Yet rather than disappearing, it simply moves beyond the visible world, continuing a sacred journey through unseen regions of the cosmos. In Egyptian thought, the sun was often associated with Ra, one of the most important deities in their spiritual tradition. Each day, Ra crossed the sky in a celestial boat, bringing light to the world. Each night, he was believed to continue his voyage through the mysterious realm known as the Duat, a hidden landscape that existed beyond ordinary sight. While modern readers sometimes focus on the dramatic aspects of these stories, there is also a deeply comforting rhythm within them. Every evening, the journey began. Every morning, it ended successfully. The cycle repeated with reassuring consistency. For thousands of years, people observed this pattern. The sun disappeared, darkness arrived, stars emerged. Then, without fail, light returned once more. This daily sequence became one of the most dependable experiences in human life, and the Egyptians transformed it into a story that expressed continuity, renewal, and trust in the rhythms of the universe. Imagine the night sky above Egypt as a vast celestial river. The stars drift slowly across its dark waters. The Milky Way stretches overhead like a luminous pathway connecting distant horizons. Somewhere beyond what the eye can see, the sun continues its peaceful passage through the darkness. The world below grows quiet, families rest, temple courtyards become silent beneath moonlight. The Nile reflects the stars, as though carrying fragments of the heavens upon its surface. There is something wonderfully calming about this vision. Rather than seeing night as empty or uncertain, the Egyptians imagined it as a period of movement and transformation. The darkness was not a void between days. It was part of a larger cycle that made each sunrise possible. Night became a bridge rather than a barrier, a gentle passage from one day into the next. Perhaps this perspective emerged naturally from life beside the Nile itself. The river never truly stopped flowing. Day blended into night, and night blended into day. The seasons changed gradually. Floodwaters arrived and receded. Everything moved according to patterns that were both reliable and beautiful. The heavens seemed to follow the same principle. As midnight approaches, the stars shine brilliantly above the desert. Their reflections shimmer across the quiet river. Cool air drifts over the landscape. The celestial voyage continues unseen beyond the horizon, carrying the promise of another dawn still waiting beyond the darkness. And while the Egyptians found meaning in the movements of the sun, they also looked upward to the countless stars themselves, seeing within them signs of eternity, memory, and a connection between the human world and the vastness of the cosmos. Toward those star-filled visions, our journey now gently continues. The stars as symbols of eternity. As the Egyptians watched the stars move across the heavens night after night, they saw more than distant points of light. The stars appeared constant in a world where nearly everything else changed. Seasons came and went, generations passed, kingdoms rose and fell, yet the familiar patterns of the night sky returned year after year with remarkable reliability. Imagine standing on the flat roof of a temple beside the Nile during a clear night. The air is cool and still. Below, the river flows quietly through the darkness. Above, countless stars fill the heavens from horizon to horizon. Some shine brightly near the horizon, while others seem fixed high overhead, watching silently as the hours pass. To the Egyptians, these celestial lights often represented permanence and continuity. Certain stars, particularly those that never appeared to set below the horizon, held special significance. Night after night, they remained visible, circling slowly around the northern sky. Their constant presence made them natural symbols of endurance and eternity. In a civilization deeply concerned with memory and legacy, this connection felt meaningful. The stars seemed untouched by time. They watched over countless lives, remaining steady while the world below changed. Looking upward, one could easily imagine them as reminders that some things endure far beyond a single lifetime. The Egyptian landscape itself encouraged such reflections. Vast deserts stretched beyond fertile riverbanks. Ancient monuments stood beneath the same skies for centuries. The slow flow of the Nile and the steady movement of the stars both suggested a universe governed by order rather than chaos. Imagine spending an entire evening simply observing the heavens. The stars gradually shift position. Constellations rise and fall. The Milky Way arches across the darkness like a luminous river. Hours pass almost unnoticed. The experience encourages patience, allowing the mind to settle into the same gentle rhythm, followed by the sky itself. Perhaps this is one reason ancient sky watching remains so appealing even today. The stars invite us to slow down. They ask nothing of us except attention. Beneath them, time feels larger and quieter. The concerns of daily life seem less urgent, replaced by a sense of perspective and calm. As the night deepens above Egypt, the stars continue their patient journey across the heavens. Their reflections shimmer upon the waters of the Nile. The temples rest beneath moonlight. The desert remains silent and vast. And beyond these ancient riverbanks, other civilizations are also looking upward, finding their own stories among the stars. Across the Mediterranean, beneath gentle coastal skies, the people of ancient Greece are beginning to weave celestial tales that will endure for thousands of years. Nights along the Nile. For the people of ancient Egypt, the night sky was not something observed only by priests, scholars, or rulers. It belonged to everyone. Farmers returning from the fields, fishermen resting beside the river, travelers crossing desert paths, and families gathered outside their homes all lived beneath the same canopy of stars. The heavens formed a familiar presence woven into everyday life. Imagine a quiet evening along the Nile. The day's heat has faded, leaving behind a gentle warmth in the air. Palm trees stand motionless against the horizon. Small boats drift near the riverbank. The water reflects the moon and stars with such clarity that it becomes difficult to tell where the sky ends and the river begins. Families sit together in the cool night air. Conversations unfold slowly. Stories are shared. Children look upward and ask questions about the light scattered across the darkness. Above them, the stars follow their ancient paths, just as they did for parents, grandparents, and countless generations before them. What makes the Egyptian relationship with the sky so remarkable is the way it blended practical observation with imagination. The stars helped mark seasons, guide activities, and organize calendars. At the same time, they inspired stories about gods, journeys, renewal, and eternity. Knowledge and wonder existed side by side. The night itself encouraged reflection. Without the noise and distractions of modern life, the sky became a natural focal point. People could spend long periods simply watching the stars emerge, observing the moon, or following familiar constellations as they crossed the heavens. The experience required nothing except patience and attention. Imagine lying beside the Nile and watching the Milky Way stretch overhead like a glowing celestial river. The stars appear endless. The air is calm. Somewhere nearby, water moves gently through the darkness. Time seems to slow until the distinction between minutes and hours begins to fade. Perhaps this feeling is universal. Across cultures and centuries, people have found comfort in the night sky. The stars remind us that we are part of a much larger world. They encourage wonder without demanding answers. They offer beauty without urgency. As the hours pass and the stars continue their quiet procession above Egypt, another civilization is looking upward as well. Across distant seas and rocky coastlines, beneath olive trees and moonlit hills, the people of ancient Greece are transforming the night sky into a vast tapestry of heroes, animals, gods, and unforgettable stories. And so, as the Nile reflects the final stars of the night, our journey gently leaves the deserts of Egypt behind and drifts toward the starlit shores of the ancient Greek world. The Greek stories written among the stars. As our journey leaves the quiet banks of the Nile and crosses the waters of the Mediterranean, we arrive in a landscape of rocky coastlines, gentle hills, olive groves, and scattered islands resting beneath clear night skies. Here, in the ancient Greek world, people looked upward just as the Egyptians had done. Yet they often imagined the heavens in a very different way. Rather than seeing the sky primarily as a realm of cosmic cycles and eternal order, they filled it with stories. Stories of heroes, animals, gods, and adventures whose traces could still be seen overhead each night. Imagine standing on a hillside overlooking the Aegean Sea during a calm summer evening. The day's warmth lingers in the stones beneath your feet. The sea reflects the first stars appearing above the horizon. A gentle breeze carries the scent of salt water and distant pine trees. As darkness deepens, familiar patterns begin to emerge among the countless points of light scattered across the heavens. To the ancient Greeks, these patterns were rarely random. Human beings naturally seek meaning in shapes, and nowhere was this tendency more evident than in the night sky. Groups of stars became figures from stories that had been shared for generations. A cluster of lights might become a hunter, another might become a great bear. Elsewhere, stars formed a winged horse, a mighty hero, or a sea creature swimming across the heavens. These celestial stories served many purposes. They preserved myths, helped people remember constellations, and transformed the night sky into a living collection of familiar characters. Looking upward was almost like opening a vast illustrated book, one whose stories unfolded across the darkness, night after night. Imagine a family gathered outside their home on a clear evening. An elder points toward a constellation rising above the horizon and begins to tell a story. Children listen as the stars become heroes embarking on journeys, gods crossing the heavens, or creatures placed among the stars as reminders of ancient events. The sky itself becomes a place where memory and imagination meet. One of the most remarkable aspects of Greek astronomy and mythology is how closely observation and storytelling work together. The Greeks carefully studied the heavens, noting the movements of stars and planets, yet they also filled those observations with meaning. The constellations became a way of organizing both knowledge and culture, allowing practical skywatching to coexist with rich traditions of storytelling. As the hours pass, the stars continue their slow movement across the heavens. Familiar constellations rise higher, while others drift toward the western horizon. The sea remains calm beneath moonlight. The villages grow quiet. Above everything stretches a sky filled not only with stars, but with stories that have survived for thousands of years. And among all those celestial tales, few were more beloved than the stories of great heroes whose adventures became permanently written into the night sky itself. Toward those timeless constellations, our journey now gently continues. Heroes among the constellations. As the ancient Greeks gazed into the night sky, they did not see a collection of distant stars alone. They saw familiar figures whose stories had been told around fires, in marketplaces, beside harbors, and within family homes for generations. The heavens became a place where memory lived on, preserving the adventures of heroes long after their earthly journeys had ended. Imagine a clear night on a small Greek island. The sea lies calm beneath the moonlight, and the stars appear with remarkable clarity above the dark horizon. A storyteller gestures toward a group of stars rising in the east. To modern eyes, they may seem like simple points of light, but to those gathered beneath the ancient sky, they form the outline of a legendary figure whose story is known by everyone present. One of the most famous examples is Orion, the Great Hunter. His constellation remains one of the easiest to recognize even today, with its distinctive belt of 3 bright stars. To the Greeks, Orion was far more than a pattern in the sky. He was a character whose adventures, strengths, and challenges became permanently woven into the heavens. When Orion appeared during the colder months of the year, people could look upward and feel as though an old acquaintance had returned. The presence of these celestial figures transformed the night sky into something deeply personal. The stars were not distant and anonymous. They carried names, stories, and lessons. A child learning the constellations was also learning the myths connected to them. Knowledge of the heavens became intertwined with culture, imagination, and shared memory. Imagine lying on a hillside overlooking the sea while Orion slowly rises above the horizon. The air is cool. Waves break gently against distant rocks. One by one, the stars of the constellation become visible. Soon the hunter stands fully revealed against the darkness, just as he has appeared to countless observers across thousands of years. The experience creates a sense of continuity, connecting present and past through a shared sky. Other constellations told different stories. The Great Bear moved slowly around the northern heavens. Pegasus stretched across the autumn sky. Andromeda, Perseus, and countless other figures occupied their own celestial places. Together, they formed a vast network of narratives spread across the stars, allowing people to navigate both the physical sky and the rich world of Greek mythology. There is something wonderfully calming about this approach to the heavens. Rather than viewing the stars as distant objects beyond human understanding, the Greeks welcomed them into their stories. The sky became familiar. It became a place where imagination could wander freely while still remaining connected to observable patterns in nature. As the night deepens, the constellations continue their slow procession across the heavens. Orion climbs higher above the sea. The Great Bear circles patiently around the northern sky. The stars move with such gradual grace that their motion is almost imperceptible, visible only to those willing to sit quietly and watch. And among these celestial stories were not only heroes, but also animals, creatures, and wonders that helped the ancient Greeks transform the heavens into one of the richest storytelling landscapes ever imagined. Toward those star-filled myths, our journey now gently continues. Animals, creatures, and wonders in the sky. While many Greek constellations were associated with heroes and legendary figures, the night sky was also filled with animals, creatures, and remarkable beings whose stories stretched across both land and sea. Looking upward on a clear evening, an ancient observer could find bears, swans, dolphins, lions, eagles, horses, and countless other forms scattered among the stars. Together they transformed the heavens into a living tapestry of imagination and wonder. Imagine a peaceful night along the Greek coast. The sea reflects the moonlight in soft silver patterns. The air carries the scent of salt and wild herbs growing among the hills. Above, the stars seem almost close enough to touch. As darkness deepens, familiar constellations emerge one by one, each carrying its own story and symbolism. The Great Bear, known today as Ursa Major, was among the most recognizable patterns in the northern sky. Night after night, it circled around the heavens without ever disappearing below the horizon. To many ancient observers, its constant presence gave it a special significance. It became a reliable companion, always visible, always returning, always occupying its familiar place among the stars. Nearby, the graceful constellation of Cygnus spread its wings across the Milky Way. On clear summer nights, its shape seemed to glide directly along the luminous river of stars that stretched across the sky. To those watching from below, it may have appeared as though a celestial bird were quietly drifting through an endless sea of light. Then there was Pegasus, the winged horse whose stars occupied a prominent place in the autumn heavens. Even today, the large square formed by some of its brightest stars remains easy to identify. For ancient storytellers, it became a symbol of freedom, imagination, and journeys beyond ordinary boundaries. What is remarkable about these celestial creatures is how naturally they emerged from simple observation. Human beings have always looked for patterns. We recognize shapes in clouds, faces in landscapes, and figures among the stars. The Greeks transformed this tendency into an extraordinary storytelling tradition that helped make the heavens feel familiar and alive. Imagine lying on a hillside while the constellations slowly move across the sky. One by one, the celestial animals appear. A swan glides along the Milky Way. A great bear circles the northern heavens. A winged horse rises above the horizon. The stars themselves remain unchanged, yet the stories give them character, transforming distant points of light into companions for the night. These myths also reveal something deeply human. The people who created them lived closely connected to nature. Animals played important roles in daily life, appearing in forests, fields, mountains, and seas. It felt natural to imagine that the same creatures might also inhabit the heavens above. In doing so, they created a bridge between the earthly world and the celestial one. As the night grows deeper, the constellations continue their slow and graceful movement. The sea remains calm. Villages rest quietly beneath the stars. The heavens feel less like an empty expanse and more like a great story unfolding overhead, one constellation at a time. And above all, these figures stretches a luminous band of light unlike any other feature in the sky, a glowing river of stars that inspired countless explanations across cultures and civilizations. Toward that celestial pathway, our journey now gently continues, the River of Stars. Of all the sights available to ancient sky watchers, few inspired as much wonder as the Milky Way. On clear nights, far from city lights, it stretches across the heavens like a luminous river, a pale band of countless distant stars flowing from one horizon to the other. To modern observers, we understand it as part of our galaxy. But to the people of the ancient world, it was something far more mysterious, a celestial pathway inviting endless imagination. Imagine a warm summer night in ancient Greece. The sea is calm, the hills are quiet, the sounds of the day have faded, leaving only the occasional whisper of wind moving through olive trees. Above, the Milky Way shines with remarkable clarity, its soft glow dividing the sky like a silver road suspended in darkness. Without telescopes, the countless stars within this band could not be individually distinguished. Instead, they merged into a luminous mist that seemed entirely different from the surrounding constellations. It was larger, brighter, and more mysterious. Naturally, people wondered what it might be. The Greeks created their own explanations. Some imagined it as a heavenly river, others connected it to stories involving gods and celestial events. The details varied across time and place, but the sense of wonder remained constant. The Milky Way was not simply another feature of the sky, it was something extraordinary, something that encouraged reflection and imagination. What makes the Milky Way so fascinating is that nearly every civilization developed its own interpretation of it. The same glowing band appeared above deserts, forests, mountains, grasslands, and coastlines across the world. Yet each culture found different meanings within its light. The stars remained unchanged, but the stories reflected the landscapes, traditions, and imaginations of the people observing them. There is something deeply beautiful in that idea. The night sky belonged to everyone, yet each culture experienced it in its own unique way. The Milky Way became a shared mystery, connecting distant civilizations through a common sense of wonder. As the hours pass, the celestial river slowly arches across the heavens. The stars drift westward. The sea reflects faint traces of their light. Villages sleep beneath the calm night sky, while travelers, sailors, and dreamers continue to gaze upward. And beyond the Mediterranean, far to the east, another ancient civilization is studying these same stars with remarkable care. Beneath the mountains, rivers, and vast landscapes of ancient China, generations of observers are creating their own celestial maps, discovering patterns that will guide both daily life and imperial history for thousands of years. Toward those quiet skies of the east, our journey now gently drifts, the ordered sky of ancient China. As our journey leaves the moonlit shores of ancient Greece and travels eastward across mountains, deserts, rivers, and vast landscapes, we arrive beneath another remarkable sky. For thousands of years, the people of ancient China observed the heavens with extraordinary dedication, recording celestial events, tracking the movements of stars, and developing one of the longest continuous traditions of sky-watching in human history. Imagine a quiet evening in ancient China. The day's activities have ended, and the countryside rests beneath a deepening twilight. Rice fields shimmer softly beneath the fading light. Rivers wind through valleys and plains. In the distance, mountains rise gently against the horizon. Above it all, the first stars begin to emerge, appearing one by one as darkness settles across the land. Like many ancient cultures, the Chinese saw meaning in the heavens, yet their approach often emphasized order, harmony, and relationships. The sky was not merely a collection of individual stories. It was a vast and carefully organized realm whose patterns reflected the rhythms of the world below. The movements of stars, planets, and celestial events were observed with patience because they were believed to reveal important connections within the greater cosmos. For generations, observers carefully watched the night sky. They noted the appearance of bright comets, the changing phases of the moon, and the slow movements of wandering planets. These observations were preserved and passed down across centuries, creating an enduring tradition of astronomical knowledge. Long before many other civilizations began keeping detailed celestial records, Chinese astronomers were already documenting events that unfolded above them. Imagine standing in a quiet courtyard on a clear night. Lantern light glows softly nearby, while above you stretches a sky filled with countless stars. The air is calm. A gentle breeze moves through nearby trees. As you look upward, the heavens seem both immense and orderly, filled with patterns that repeat night after night and season after season. One of the most fascinating aspects of the Chinese sky was the way it was mapped. Rather than focusing primarily on the constellations familiar to Western traditions, Chinese observers developed their own system of celestial divisions. The heavens were organized into numerous star groups, each associated with particular regions, ideas, or aspects of life. Together, they formed a detailed celestial landscape that reflected how people understood the structure of the world around them. Yet despite this careful organization, the sky never lost its sense of wonder. The stars remained beautiful. The Milky Way continued to stretch across the heavens like a luminous river. Moonlit nights still invited quiet reflection. Families gathered beneath the same sky, sharing stories and observations, much as people had done for countless generations. Perhaps this balance between observation and wonder is what makes ancient Chinese astronomy so fascinating. The heavens were studied with great care, yet they also remained a source of beauty and contemplation. Knowledge and imagination existed side by side, enriching one another rather than competing. As the night deepens over the rivers, mountains, and fields of ancient China, the stars continue their patient journey across the sky. Their patterns shift slowly overhead, revealing a celestial landscape unlike any we have encountered so far. And among those stars flows a great luminous river, whose story would become one of the most beloved in Chinese tradition. a tale of love, distance, and reunion written across the heavens themselves. Toward that gentle celestial story, our journey now continues. The Weaver Girl and the Cowherd. Among the many stories written into the Chinese night sky, few are as gentle and enduring as the tale of the Weaver Girl and the Cowherd. For centuries, people looked upward on clear summer evenings and found this story reflected among the stars, where it became a symbol of love, distance, patience, and reunion. Imagine a warm night in the countryside of ancient China. The day's work is finished. Lanterns glow softly outside homes and along quiet pathways. Crickets sing in the darkness, while rivers move silently through the landscape. Above, the Milky Way stretches across the heavens like a broad river of silver light. To ancient observers, this celestial river divided two bright stars positioned on opposite sides of the sky. One represented the Weaver Girl, associated with skill, beauty, and diligence. The other represented the Cowherd, a humble figure whose life was connected to the rhythms of the earth. Separated by the luminous river overhead, the two became the central figures in one of China's most beloved celestial stories. According to tradition, they could see one another across the heavenly river, but could not easily cross it. Only once each year were they allowed to reunite, when a bridge formed across the stars. The details of the story changed over time and across regions, but its emotional heart remained remarkably consistent. It was a tale not of conflict or conquest, but of longing, devotion, and the hope of reunion. There is something wonderfully peaceful about imagining this story unfolding overhead. Unlike myths centered on battles or dramatic struggles, this one invites reflection on patience and enduring connection. The stars become symbols of relationships that persist across distance and time, much like the bonds that connect families, friends, and communities across generations. Imagine sitting beside a river on a clear summer night while the Milky Way shines above. The air is warm. Fireflies drift among the grasses. The celestial river arches from one horizon to the other, carrying with it a story that countless people have contemplated beneath the same stars. The longer you gaze upward, the more natural the story begins to feel, as though the heavens themselves are quietly preserving a memory. What makes this tale especially remarkable is the way it blends observation and imagination. The stars are real, the Milky Way is real, yet the meaning woven between them emerges from human creativity and emotion. Ancient observers transformed distant lights into a story that reflected experiences familiar to every generation: affection, separation, patience, and hope. As the night deepens, the celestial river glows softly above the countryside. The stars of the Weaver Girl and the Cowherd continue their patient vigil on opposite sides of the heavens. Below them, villages sleep peacefully, while rivers, forests, and mountains rest beneath moonlight. And beyond this beloved story, the sky of ancient China contains countless other celestial patterns, carefully mapped, observed, and recorded over centuries by generations of sky watchers who saw the heavens as a vast and interconnected realm. Toward those star-filled maps, our journey now gently continues, mapping the heavens. As generations of Chinese observers continued to watch the night sky, they gradually created one of the most detailed celestial traditions in the ancient world. Night after night, year after year, scholars, astronomers, and careful observers recorded what they saw above them. The stars were not viewed as random lights scattered across the darkness. Instead, they formed a vast celestial landscape whose patterns could be studied, remembered, and passed from one generation to the next. Imagine a clear autumn evening in ancient China. The air is cool and still. A lantern burns softly beside a quiet courtyard. Above, the stars shine with remarkable clarity, filling the sky with countless points of light. An observer sits patiently, looking upward and noting the appearance of familiar star groups as they rise above the horizon. Unlike the constellation system that later became familiar in much of the Western world, Chinese astronomers developed their own extensive network of celestial divisions. The heavens were organized into numerous star groups and regions, each occupying its own place within a larger cosmic structure. Together, these patterns created a detailed map that helped observers understand the movements of the sky throughout the year. What is most remarkable is the patience such work required. The stars move slowly, the seasons change gradually. Patterns become visible only through repeated observation over long periods of time. Ancient sky watchers often spent years studying the heavens, carefully comparing what they saw with the records preserved by earlier generations. Imagine watching the same portion of sky every evening for months. At first, the changes seem almost invisible, yet little by little, familiar stars appear in different positions. New constellations emerge while others fade below the horizon. The moon follows its cycle. Planets wander among the stars. The heavens reveal themselves not through sudden discoveries, but through steady attention. There is something deeply calming about this process. It reminds us that understanding often grows slowly. The ancient observers were not rushing to solve the sky. They were learning to live alongside it, noticing its rhythms and becoming familiar with its patterns. The stars themselves became markers of time. Certain groups appeared during particular seasons. Their arrival signaled changes in weather, agriculture, and daily life. Looking upward allowed people to feel connected to larger cycles, unfolding beyond the boundaries of any single year. As the night deepens over rivers, fields, and distant mountains, the celestial map continues its slow movement across the heavens. The stars shine steadily above the sleeping world. Generations of observers have watched them before, and generations will continue to watch them long after. And among all these carefully recorded lights, there were occasional visitors, brilliant objects that appeared unexpectedly, crossed the heavens, and inspired awe among everyone who witnessed them. Toward those rare celestial wanderers, our journey now gently continues. The wandering lights of the heavens. Most nights, the sky appeared reassuringly familiar. The same constellations rose and set according to predictable patterns. The moon followed its steady cycle. The stars returned season after season, creating a sense of order that generations of observers came to trust. Yet every so often, the heavens offered something unexpected. Imagine a quiet night in ancient China. The stars shine above the landscape with their usual brilliance. Rivers reflect the moonlight. Villages rest peacefully beneath the darkness. Then, somewhere among the familiar constellations, a bright object appears where none had been seen before. For ancient observers, such moments were unforgettable. Chinese astronomers became renowned for their careful records of unusual celestial events. They observed comets drifting across the heavens, bright meteors flashing through the darkness, and what they called guest stars, temporary lights that appeared among the familiar stars before eventually fading away. Today, some of these observations are understood to have been supernovae, the brilliant explosions of distant stars. Yet to those witnessing them centuries ago, they were mysterious visitors arriving unexpectedly in the night sky. Imagine seeing such an event without any modern explanation. Night after night, you have become familiar with the heavens. You know where the brightest stars appear. You recognize the seasonal constellations. Then suddenly, a new light emerges among them, shining brightly where only darkness existed before. The experience would naturally inspire wonder. What makes these ancient observations remarkable is not only the events themselves, but the patience with which they were recorded. Rather than dismissing unusual sights, generations of skywatchers carefully documented what they saw. They noted positions, brightness and duration. Their observations became part of an ongoing conversation stretching across centuries. There is something deeply human in this process. The observers did not know exactly what these celestial visitors were, yet they paid attention. They watched, they recorded, they remained curious. In doing so, they preserved valuable knowledge while also maintaining a sense of wonder toward the unknown. Imagine standing beneath a sky where a bright comet slowly moves across the stars. Its luminous tail stretches behind it like a silver brushstroke painted across the darkness. The object drifts gradually from night to night, visible to anyone willing to look upward. Villagers point toward it, travelers discuss it, children ask questions about it. The entire community shares the experience together beneath the same sky. Even today, such sights retain their power to captivate us. A comet crossing the heavens or a meteor shower illuminating the darkness still encourages people to pause, look upward, and marvel at the beauty of the cosmos. For a moment, daily concerns fade into the background, replaced by simple observation and awe. As the hours pass, the celestial visitor continues its journey. The stars remain steady around it. The moon rises above distant mountains. Rivers flow quietly through sleeping valleys. Gradually, the heavens return to their familiar patterns. Yet those who witnessed the event carry the memory with them long afterward. And while the people of ancient China carefully mapped the heavens above them, they were not alone in finding meaning among the stars. Across forests, deserts, mountains, and open plains throughout the world, countless indigenous peoples were creating their own celestial stories, transforming the night sky into a living archive of wisdom, memory, and connection. Toward those ancient skies and their timeless stories, our journey now gently continues. The sky as a living storybook. Long before written histories preserved traditions in books and archives, many indigenous peoples around the world looked to the night sky as a source of memory, knowledge, and connection. The stars were not distant objects separated from everyday life. They were part of a living world that included rivers, forests, animals, mountains, seasons, and communities. The heavens became a place where stories were remembered and passed from one generation to the next, beneath the quiet glow of countless stars. Imagine a clear night on an open plain thousands of years ago. A small fire burns gently in the darkness. Around it, families gather after the day's activities have ended. The air is cool. The landscape stretches far beyond the reach of the firelight. Above, the sky appears immense, filled with more stars than can easily be counted. An elder begins to tell a story. As the story unfolds, certain stars become familiar characters. A cluster of lights transforms into an animal known to everyone present. Another pattern becomes a hunter, a traveler, or a group of ancestors. The night sky becomes more than a backdrop. It becomes part of the story itself, helping listeners remember lessons, traditions, and observations about the world around them. Across different regions of the world, indigenous cultures developed remarkably rich relationships with the heavens. Although their stories varied greatly, many shared a common understanding. The sky was connected to life on Earth. The movements of stars helped mark seasonal changes. Certain constellations signaled the arrival of migrations, harvests, or important times of the year. Looking upward was not only an act of wonder, but also a way of remaining connected to the rhythms of nature. Imagine lying beneath the stars, in a landscape untouched by artificial light. The Milky Way stretches overhead from horizon to horizon. Every star appears sharp and bright. The darkness between them feels deep and peaceful. In such conditions, it becomes easy to understand why the sky inspired so many stories. The heavens seem alive, with patterns waiting to be discovered. For many indigenous traditions, the purpose of these stories extended beyond explanation. They helped preserve relationships between people and the natural world. A constellation might remind a community when certain animals would appear. Another might signal the beginning of a seasonal cycle. The stars became part of a larger network of knowledge connecting sky, land, water, and life. There is something deeply calming about this perspective. Rather than separating humanity from nature, it places people within a larger living system. The stars are not distant spectators. They participate in the same cycles that shape forests, rivers, and seasons. Looking upward becomes a way of remembering one's place within the broader world. As the fire burns softly and the stars continue their patient journey across the heavens, voices share stories that have been passed down through countless generations. The night remains quiet. The landscape rests peacefully beneath the sky. Above, the constellations shine with meanings that are both practical and profound. And among all the celestial sights visible to these ancient observers, none inspired more wonder than the great luminous pathway stretching across the darkness, the Milky Way, whose meaning would differ from culture to culture while remaining one of humanity's most beloved mysteries, the Milky Way across the ancient world. Few features of the night sky have inspired as many stories as the Milky Way. Long before astronomers understood it as a vast collection of distant stars within our galaxy, people across the world looked upward and saw something extraordinary. Stretching from one horizon to the other, glowing softly against the darkness, it appeared as a celestial pathway connecting earth and sky. Imagine a moonless night in a landscape untouched by artificial light. The air is still, the stars shine with remarkable clarity. Above you, the Milky Way forms a luminous band across the heavens, brighter than any cloud and more mysterious than any constellation. It seems almost close enough to touch, like a river flowing silently through the darkness. For many indigenous cultures, this glowing pathway became a source of stories, guidance, and reflection. Different peoples saw different meanings within its light. Some imagined it as a celestial river carrying spirits across the sky. Others saw a pathway traveled by ancestors, animals, or beings from ancient stories. In some traditions, it represented a bridge between worlds. In others, it served as a reminder of the connections linking all living things. What is remarkable is that the same sky inspired so many different interpretations while remaining equally beautiful to all who observed it. The Milky Way did not belong to one culture or one region. It stretched above deserts, forests, grasslands, mountains, and coastlines, inviting each community to discover its own meaning among the stars. Imagine a group of travelers resting beside a fire during a long journey. The landscape around them is quiet. The stars fill every corner of the sky. One person points toward the Milky Way and begins telling a story passed down through generations. The listeners follow the glowing pathway overhead while imagining ancestors, animals, and distant journeys unfolding among the stars. The story serves many purposes at once. It entertains, it teaches, it preserves memory, it strengthens connections between people and the natural world. Most importantly, it transforms the sky into something familiar, helping listeners feel at home beneath its immense expanse. There is something deeply comforting about this human tendency to find meaning in the heavens. The stars remain distant, yet stories allow them to feel close. The sky remains vast, yet imagination helps us navigate its mysteries. Across thousands of years and countless cultures, people have responded to the same celestial wonder with creativity, curiosity, and reflection. As the night deepens, the Milky Way continues its silent journey across the sky. The fire burns lower. The landscape rests in peaceful darkness. The stories drift gently through the air, blending with the sounds of wind, water, and distant wildlife. And beyond these stories lies another important role the stars played in ancient life. They were not only sources of wonder and imagination, they were also guides, helping people understand the seasons, track the passage of time, and remain connected to the rhythms of the earth itself. Toward those celestial rhythms, our journey now gently continues. The stars that marked the seasons. For many indigenous cultures, the night sky was not only a place of stories and wonder, it was also a calendar written in light. Long before printed calendars existed, people learned to observe the heavens and recognize patterns that repeated year after year. The appearance of certain stars, the position of constellations, and the changing relationship between the sky and the horizon helped communities understand the passage of time and prepare for the seasons ahead. Imagine a peaceful evening at the edge of a forest. The air carries the scent of earth and trees after a warm day. Above, the first stars begin to emerge as twilight slowly fades. An experienced observer looks toward the horizon and notices a familiar constellation returning after many months. Its arrival is not merely an interesting sight. It signals that a particular season is approaching. Across the world, people develop these connections between the heavens and the earth below. Certain stars became associated with migrations of animals. Others signaled the best times for planting, harvesting, fishing, or gathering food. The sky provided information that helped communities remain in harmony with the natural cycles surrounding them. Imagine a family sitting together beneath the stars. An elder points toward a constellation rising in the east and explains what its appearance means. Perhaps it signals the return of warmer weather. Perhaps it marks the beginning of a migration season. Perhaps it reminds people that preparations should begin for the colder months ahead. The lesson is practical, but it is also wrapped within stories that make it easier to remember and pass on. This relationship between sky and season encouraged careful observation. People learned to notice subtle changes that unfolded gradually over time. A constellation that appeared low on the horizon one month would climb higher during the next. Familiar stars shifted with the seasons. The heavens themselves became a living clock, moving at a pace that rewarded patience. There is something wonderfully calming about this way of experiencing time. Rather than dividing life into schedules and deadlines, it encourages attention to natural rhythms. The stars do not rush. The seasons do not hurry. Everything unfolds according to patterns that have repeated for countless generations. Imagine lying beneath a clear sky while these celestial markers move slowly overhead. The earth beneath you is quiet. The air is cool. The stars seem steady and timeless. Yet hidden within their movements is a vast calendar, silently measuring the passage of months and years. As the night deepens, the constellations continue their gradual journey across the heavens. Their light reflects upon rivers, forests, grasslands, and mountains. Communities rest beneath the same stars that guided their ancestors and will guide future generations as well. And beyond their role as markers of time, the stars also reminded many people of a deeper truth, that human beings are part of a larger world, connected not only to one another, but also to the animals, landscapes, and cycles that shape life on Earth. Toward that sense of connection, our journey now gently continues, beneath one shared sky. As ancient people watched the stars night after night, season after season, they came to understand something that feels just as meaningful today as it did thousands of years ago. The sky belonged to everyone. The forests, rivers, deserts, mountains, and coastlines of the world were different from one place to another. Languages varied, traditions developed along unique paths, stories took different forms. Yet when darkness arrived and the stars appeared overhead, people everywhere found themselves looking toward the same heavens. Imagine a clear night long ago. Somewhere, a family sits beside a fire near a river. Far away, another community gathers on an open plain beneath the Milky Way. Beyond distant mountains, travelers rest beneath unfamiliar constellations. Across the ocean, fishermen watch the stars reflected upon calm water. None of these people know one another. Their lives will never cross. Yet above them stretches the same sky. This shared experience became one of humanity's oldest connections. Different cultures interpreted the stars in different ways. One group might see an animal, where another saw an ancestor. One community might view the Milky Way as a river, while another imagined it as a pathway through the heavens. The stories varied, but the act itself remained universal. People looked upward and searched for meaning. There is something deeply comforting about that image. Throughout history, countless generations have paused beneath the stars and felt the same mixture of wonder, curiosity, and peace. The sky became a place where human imagination could flourish while remaining connected to the natural world. Imagine lying beneath a clear night sky with no destination in mind and no need to hurry. The stars shine steadily above. A gentle breeze moves through nearby grasses. The sounds of the earth gradually soften as the night deepens. In moments like these, it becomes easier to understand why so many cultures viewed the heavens not merely as a distant realm, but as a companion to life on Earth. The stars offered perspective. They reminded people that they belonged to something larger than themselves. The concerns of a single day seemed smaller beneath a sky that had watched over countless generations. The passing seasons, the movement of rivers, the migration of animals, and the turning of the heavens all became part of the same great rhythm. Perhaps that is one of the reasons the night sky continues to inspire us today. Even though we understand far more about the universe than our ancestors did, the stars still encourage the same quiet reflections. They still invite us to slow down. They still remind us of distances beyond imagination and timescales far greater than our own lives. As the night grows deeper, the constellations continue their patient movement across the heavens. The Milky Way arches above forests, deserts, mountains, and oceans, just as it has for thousands of years. The stories may differ, but the sky remains. And as our journey continues, we will begin to explore how ancient people use these celestial patterns to understand time itself, how the stars became clocks, calendars, and faithful companions in the endless cycle of the seasons. The sky as humanity's first calendar. Long before mechanical clocks measured hours and long before calendars were printed on paper, people found a reliable way to track the passage of time simply by looking upward. Night after night, season after season, the heavens revealed patterns that repeated with remarkable consistency. The stars became markers of change, helping ancient communities understand where they stood within the endless cycle of the year. Imagine a quiet evening thousands of years ago. The sun has set beyond the horizon, and darkness slowly settles across the landscape. A family sits outside their home, watching the first stars emerge overhead. To a modern observer, the sky may appear unchanged from one night to the next. Yet to someone who has spent years observing it, subtle differences are immediately visible. A particular constellation now rises slightly earlier than it did a month ago. Another appears higher above the horizon. A familiar pattern of stars that dominated the winter sky has slowly disappeared, replaced by new constellations announcing the arrival of a different season. The changes are gradual, but they are unmistakable. For ancient people, these celestial shifts became invaluable. The sky provided information that could not easily be found elsewhere. Long before written records existed, communities learned to associate certain stars with recurring events in the natural world. The appearance of a constellation might signal the time to prepare fields for planting. Another might announce the arrival of seasonal rains. Yet another could indicate that colder weather was approaching. Imagine a group of farmers standing beneath a clear pre-dawn sky. They notice a bright star appearing near the horizon after many months of absence. The sight is familiar because their parents observed it, and their grandparents observed it before them. The star serves as a reminder that a seasonal transition is beginning. Soon the landscape itself will begin to change. The beauty of this system lies in its simplicity. No special tools are required, no written instructions are necessary. All that is needed is patience and observation. Generation after generation, people learned to read the sky, much as one might read a familiar path through a forest. The moon also played an important role in measuring time. Its cycle is easy to observe, changing gradually from a thin crescent to a full shining disk, before beginning the journey again. Across many ancient cultures, months were closely tied to these lunar rhythms. The moon became a natural clock, helping people organize activities and mark the passage of time. Imagine lying beneath the stars while the moon slowly rises above distant hills. The landscape is quiet, the air is cool. Overhead, countless stars follow their ancient courses while the moon continues its steady cycle. Nothing feels rushed. The heavens move at their own pace, revealing a universe built upon rhythm and repetition rather than urgency. Perhaps this is one reason sky watching feels so calming even today. The stars remind us that time can be measured in ways that feel gentle and natural. Seasons arrive when they are ready. The moon follows its path without hurry. Constellations return exactly when they should. As the night deepens, the celestial calendar continues its silent work above forests, rivers, deserts, and mountains across the world. The stars drift slowly westward. The moon climbs higher. Ancient observers watch carefully, finding within the heavens a dependable guide through the changing seasons of life. And among all the celestial clocks visible in the night sky, none inspired more reflection than the moon itself, whose changing face became one of humanity's oldest companions in the measurement of time. Toward that silver traveler, our journey now gently continues, the moon and the rhythm of time. Of all the objects visible in the night sky, none is more familiar than the moon. Unlike the stars, which maintain their patterns night after night, The moon changes constantly. Its shape shifts from evening to evening, growing brighter and fuller before gradually fading once again. To ancient observers, these transformations created one of the most visible and reliable rhythms in nature. Imagine a peaceful evening in a small village thousands of years ago. The day's work has ended. A soft breeze moves through the trees. Families gather outside their homes while the first stars appear overhead. Above the horizon, a thin silver crescent hangs in the darkening sky. It is delicate and beautiful, almost like a brushstroke of light against the deep blue of evening. Night after night, the moon changes. The crescent grows wider, the illuminated portion expands. Eventually, a full moon rises above the landscape, casting a soft glow across fields, rivers, forests, and mountains. Under its light, familiar places appear transformed, paths become easier to follow, water reflects silver patterns, shadows soften and stretch across the ground. For ancient people, these changes were impossible to ignore. The moon offered a natural way to divide time into manageable cycles. While the seasons unfolded over many months and the stars shifted gradually throughout the year, the moon provided a shorter rhythm that could be observed by anyone willing to look upward. Its cycle became one of humanity's earliest and most dependable measures of time. Imagine a child growing up in an ancient community. Long before learning formal systems of measurement, they become familiar with the moon's changing face. They notice how it waxes and wanes. They learn to recognize the approach of a full moon and the return of darkness afterward. Over time, these patterns become as familiar as the changing weather or the rising and setting of the sun. Across many cultures, important events became connected to lunar cycles. Gatherings, ceremonies, seasonal activities, and agricultural traditions were often organized according to the moon's phases. Its steady rhythm helped communities remain connected to the passage of time in a way that felt both practical and deeply natural. There is something remarkably calming about the moon's predictability. It never rushes, it never skips ahead. Its transformations occur gradually, encouraging patience and observation. A full moon cannot be hurried into existence, nor can a waning moon be persuaded to remain bright. The cycle unfolds according to its own quiet schedule. Imagine sitting beside a river beneath a full moon. The water reflects its light like polished silver. The stars surround it in every direction. The landscape is peaceful and still. As the hours pass, the moon slowly crosses the sky, carrying with it the same rhythm that countless generations have observed before. Perhaps this is why the moon remains such a powerful presence in human experience. It reminds us that change does not have to be sudden. Some transformations occur gradually, almost imperceptibly, until one day we realize how much has changed. The moon teaches this lesson every month, quietly and consistently. As the night continues and the moon climbs higher above the horizon, ancient observers remain beneath its glow, watching its familiar journey across the heavens. And beyond the moon, countless stars continue marking the seasons, helping humanity understand not only individual months, but the larger cycles that shape entire years. Toward those seasonal rhythms written among the stars, our journey now gently continues. The seasons written in the stars. While the moon helped ancient people measure shorter cycles of time, the stars revealed something even larger. They marked the turning of entire seasons. Long before printed calendars existed, communities across the world learned that the sky itself could announce the gradual arrival of spring, summer, autumn, and winter. Imagine standing outside on a clear evening at the edge of a forest. The air feels different than it did a few months earlier. The days have grown shorter, the nights arrive sooner. As darkness settles overhead, you notice a familiar constellation appearing once again above the horizon. It has not been visible for many months, yet now it returns, just as it always does. For ancient observers, these celestial returns were deeply meaningful. The stars did not appear randomly. Different constellations dominated different times of the year. Some were associated with the warmth of summer evenings. Others became familiar companions during long winter nights. Their arrival and departure created a celestial rhythm that mirrored the changing world below. Imagine a farming community watching the stars as carefully as they watch their fields. The appearance of a particular star cluster may signal that planting season is near. Another constellation might indicate that harvest preparations should begin. The sky becomes a partner in daily life, offering gentle reminders about the natural cycles unfolding across the landscape. What makes this relationship so remarkable is the patience it required. The stars move slowly. Their seasonal changes reveal themselves gradually. Ancient people learned to notice patterns that unfolded not over hours or days, but across months and years. Such observations encouraged a long-term perspective, connecting human life to rhythms much larger than any individual moment. Imagine lying beneath a clear autumn sky. The air is crisp, the stars shine brilliantly overhead. A constellation that was hidden during summer now rises prominently above the horizon. You recognize it immediately, not because someone told you where to find it, but because you have watched its return year after year. Its appearance feels like greeting an old friend. There is something deeply comforting about this reliability. The stars return when expected. The seasons follow familiar paths. The sky reminds us that change is not always chaotic. Often it unfolds through patterns that have repeated for generations. Ancient people understood this intuitively. Looking upward allowed them to place their own lives within a much larger cycle. The passing of a season was not simply a change in weather. It was part of an ongoing rhythm shared by the earth, the sky, and every living thing beneath them. As the night deepens, the constellations continue their patient journey across the heavens. Their movement is almost imperceptible, yet over weeks and months, it becomes unmistakable. The sky remains a vast calendar, quietly marking the progression of the year. And beyond the stars and seasons lies an even greater perspective, one that emerges when people begin to see the heavens not merely as a collection of lights, but as a reflection of the larger universe itself. Toward that ancient sense of cosmic connection, our journey now gently continues. Living within a greater cosmos. As ancient people watched the moon complete its cycles and the stars mark the changing seasons, many began to recognize a deeper pattern hidden within the heavens. The sky was not simply a collection of separate objects moving independently across the darkness. Everything seemed connected. The movements of the stars influenced calendars. The seasons shaped life on Earth. The moon measured time. The rising and setting of constellations corresponded with changes in weather, migrations, harvests, and countless other rhythms woven into daily existence. Imagine a clear night in a world untouched by artificial light. The landscape rests in silence beneath a vast canopy of stars. A river reflects the heavens like a mirror. The moon hangs above distant hills, while familiar constellations slowly cross the sky. As you sit quietly and observe, it becomes difficult to think of the earth and the heavens as separate places. Everything appears to participate in the same great rhythm. For many ancient cultures, this feeling of connection became one of the most important lessons the sky could offer. looking upward encouraged people to see themselves as part of a larger order. The stars were not distant decorations suspended above the world. They were participants in the same cycles that shaped rivers, forests, animals, weather, and human life. Imagine a traveler crossing an open plain beneath a sky filled with stars. The journey is long, yet the heavens provide companionship. Familiar constellations guide the way. The moon illuminates the landscape. The changing position of the stars reveals the passing hours. Above, everything moves with quiet purpose. Below, the traveler follows a path through the darkness. Together, earth and sky seem to belong to the same story. There is something profoundly calming about this perspective. Modern life often encourages us to focus on immediate concerns, yet the night sky invites a wider view. It reminds us that we are part of cycles far older than ourselves. The stars we see today illuminated the nights of ancient Egypt, Greece, China, and countless indigenous cultures. They watched over rivers, deserts, mountains, forests, and oceans long before modern civilization emerged. The same constellations that guided travelers thousands of years ago still cross the heavens today. The moon still follows its familiar path. The seasons still arrive in their proper time. Despite all the changes that have occurred throughout human history, these celestial rhythms continue. Perhaps this continuity explains why the sky has always inspired both wonder and comfort. It offers perspective without demanding answers. It reveals vastness without creating urgency. Beneath the stars, people often discover a quiet sense of belonging, as though they have stepped into a story much larger than their own lives. As the night deepens and the heavens continue their slow movement overhead, the ancient world seems united by a shared understanding. Different cultures told different stories. They created different constellations and imagined different meanings among the stars. Yet all of them recognized something similar. The sky was more than a backdrop to life. It was a companion, a teacher, and a reminder that every life unfolds within a much larger cosmos. And among all the celestial sights that inspired these reflections, none captured humanity's imagination more completely than the great river of stars stretching across the heavens. In every corner of the world, people looked upon the Milky Way and saw something extraordinary. Toward that shared celestial wonder, our journey now gently continues. The Milky Way, humanity's shared river of light. Throughout our journey, we have visited many different civilizations. We have stood beside the Nile beneath the stars of ancient Egypt. We have wandered the moonlit hills of Greece. We have crossed the quiet landscapes of ancient China. We have listened to stories shared beneath indigenous skies across forests, plains, deserts, and mountains. Each culture developed its own understanding of the heavens, yet one celestial feature appeared again and again in their stories, inspiring wonder wherever it was seen. The Milky Way. No matter where ancient people lived, if the night was dark enough and the sky was clear, they could look upward and see a luminous band stretching across the heavens. It appeared neither as a constellation nor as a wandering planet. It was something larger, softer, and more mysterious. It flowed across the darkness like a river made of light, inviting countless interpretations from those who gazed upon it. Imagine a warm summer night thousands of years ago. The moon has not yet risen. The landscape is quiet. Above you, the Milky Way spans the entire sky from horizon to horizon. Its glow is subtle yet unmistakable, formed by countless distant stars blending together into a soft celestial mist. The longer you look, the more details emerge. Bright regions appear like islands of light. Dark lanes wind through the glowing band like streams flowing through a great river. To ancient observers, such a sight demanded explanation. Without telescopes, no one could know that this glowing pathway was part of an immense galaxy containing billions of stars. Instead, people turned to imagination, observation, and storytelling. The Milky Way became a river, a road, a bridge, a pathway for spirits, a trail left by animals, a heavenly stream, or a connection between worlds. The interpretations differed, but the feeling remained remarkably similar. Wonder. Imagine standing beside a fire while an elder points toward the glowing band overhead. Children listen carefully as the story begins. The Milky Way becomes a journey taken long ago by ancestors. It becomes a celestial river connecting distant realms. It becomes a reminder that the world is larger and more mysterious than it first appears. The stars above are transformed into a living story that helps explain humanity's place within the universe. What is particularly beautiful about these stories is that they reveal how much people shared despite living in different times and places. The cultures themselves were separated by oceans, languages, and thousands of miles. Yet, when they looked upward, they encountered the same celestial river. Each community responded in its own way, but all were inspired by the same magnificent sight. Even today, there is something deeply calming about observing the Milky Way. It encourages us to slow down and simply look. Beneath its glow, everyday concerns often seem quieter. The immense scale of the cosmos creates a sense of perspective that many people find comforting rather than overwhelming. The stars ask nothing of us, they simply shine. As the hours pass and the celestial river arches overhead, the ancient world seems united beneath a shared sky. Farmers, travelers, sailors, storytellers, astronomers, and dreamers all stand beneath the same band of light. Their explanations differ, but their sense of wonder remains the same. And as we continue following this luminous pathway across the heavens, we will discover how different cultures imagined it not merely as a beautiful sight, but as a road connecting distant places, worlds, and generations through the quiet language of the stars, the celestial road across the heavens. For many ancient cultures, the Milky Way was more than a river of light. It was a road, not a road built by human hands, but a pathway stretching across the sky itself, connecting distant places beyond the reach of ordinary travel. Looking upward on a clear night, it was easy to imagine that this luminous band must lead somewhere. Its gentle curve crossed the heavens with such purpose that it seemed to invite journeys, stories, and possibilities beyond the visible world. Imagine a traveler resting beside a small fire at the end of a long day. The landscape around them has grown quiet. Mountains stand as dark silhouettes against the horizon. A cool breeze moves through the grass. Above, the Milky Way stretches from one edge of the sky to the other, brighter than any cloud and more enduring than any road below. The traveler follows its path with their eyes. Where does it begin? Where does it end? Ancient people asked these questions in many different ways. Some believed the glowing pathway connected the world of the living with the world of ancestors. Others imagined it as a route traveled by spirits, animals, or celestial beings. In some traditions, it became a bridge linking distant realms. In others, it was seen as a heavenly trail left by a great journey long ago. What makes these stories so fascinating is that they emerged independently across different parts of the world. Civilizations, separated by vast distances, often arrived at surprisingly similar ideas. Again and again, people looked at the Milky Way and saw movement, travel, and connection. The sky itself seemed to suggest these themes. Perhaps this was because human life has always involved journeys. People traveled in search of food, trade, knowledge, family, and opportunity. Roads connected villages, rivers connected regions, sea routes connected continents. It felt natural to imagine that the heavens might possess pathways of their own. Imagine lying beneath a moonless sky where the Milky Way shines with exceptional clarity. The stars seem almost countless. The celestial road appears wide enough to walk upon. Dark lanes weave through its glow like winding trails through a distant landscape. The longer you observe it, the more it begins to resemble a place rather than an object, a destination waiting beyond the limits of sight. There is something deeply comforting about this image. Roads imply connection. They suggest that distant places are not truly isolated. They offer the possibility of movement, discovery, and reunion. Across cultures, the Milky Way often became a symbol of these ideas, transforming the vastness of the cosmos into something familiar and welcoming. As the night deepens, the celestial road continues its silent journey overhead. It crosses forests, deserts, mountains, rivers, and oceans without regard for borders or distances. Beneath it, countless generations have stood in wonder, each adding their own stories to the great human conversation about the stars. And perhaps the most remarkable thing about that conversation is that it never truly ended. The stories changed, the civilizations changed, yet people continued looking upward, asking the same questions, and finding new meanings within the same ancient sky. As our journey continues, we will follow that shared sense of wonder even further, exploring how the night sky became one of humanity's oldest sources of perspective, reminding people of their place within a universe far larger than themselves. Finding perspective beneath the stars. As ancient people spent long evenings beneath the night sky, they received something that is becoming increasingly rare in the modern world: perspective. The stars moved slowly. The seasons unfolded patiently. The moon followed its familiar cycle. Everything in the heavens seemed to operate according to rhythms far older and larger than any individual life. Simply looking upward encouraged reflection. In such moments, ancient observers often became aware of something profound. Human life, with all its joys, challenges, hopes, and uncertainties, was part of a much larger story. The stars visible overhead had appeared long before they were born. They would continue shining long after future generations arrived. The heavens revealed a scale of time that extended far beyond any single lifetime. Yet rather than making people feel insignificant, this realization often created a sense of belonging. The stars were not strangers. They were companions that had watched over countless generations. Parents and grandparents had stood beneath the same constellations. Ancestors had followed the same moon. The celestial patterns visible overhead connected the present moment to a much longer history. Imagine an elder sitting beside a fire while younger members of the community listen nearby. The stories shared are not only about heroes, animals, or distant journeys, they are also about continuity. The stars become reminders that every generation occupies a small but meaningful place within a much larger cycle. Life changes, Communities evolve, seasons pass, yet the heavens continue their patient movement overhead. This perspective appears in many ancient traditions. The details vary, but the underlying feeling remains remarkably consistent. Looking upward encourages humility without diminishing wonder. The sky reminds people that they belong to a world far greater than themselves, while also reassuring them that they are part of it. Perhaps this is one reason stargazing remains such a calming experience even today. Modern life often draws attention toward immediate concerns. The stars encourage the opposite. They invite us to think in longer timescales. Beneath a clear night sky, the urgency of the day softens, the mind slows, thoughts become quieter. The universe feels vast, yet strangely welcoming. Imagine lying beneath the Milky Way with no need to hurry anywhere. The stars shine steadily above. The earth turns slowly beneath them. Entire civilizations have come and gone under these same heavens, yet the sky remains, continuing its silent conversation with anyone willing to pause and listen. As the night deepens and the celestial river stretches across the darkness, ancient observers find themselves connected not only to the stars, but also to one another. Across continents and centuries, countless people have experienced this same feeling of wonder and perspective. Different cultures told different stories, but all shared the experience of standing beneath a sky that seemed endless. And as our journey approaches its final chapter, we will return to perhaps the most remarkable truth of all, that despite the many stories humanity created about the stars, everyone was ultimately looking at the same sky, a shared celestial home that has united people across thousands of years of history. One sky for all humanity. As our long journey through the ancient night sky begins to approach its final destination, it is worth pausing to reflect on a simple truth that connects every civilization we have visited. The Egyptians standing beside the Nile, the Greeks gazing across the Aegean Sea, the astronomers of ancient China recording celestial events beneath quiet lantern light, and the countless indigenous communities sharing stories beneath forests, deserts, mountains, and open plains, were all looking at the same sky. The stories were different, the names were different, the interpretations were different, yet the stars themselves remained unchanged. Imagine a perfectly clear night somewhere in the ancient world. A child looks upward for the first time and notices the countless lights scattered across the darkness. That moment of curiosity has likely occurred millions of times throughout human history. Different languages may have been spoken, different traditions may have shaped the explanation, yet the feeling itself was universal: wonder. Human beings have always been storytellers, and the night sky became one of our greatest canvases. Wherever people lived, they transformed the stars into something meaningful. Constellations became heroes, animals, ancestors, rivers, travelers, and celestial beings. The heavens became a place where imagination and observation could meet peacefully, creating stories that help people understand both the universe and themselves. Imagine the Earth as it appeared thousands of years ago. Across its surface, countless small communities prepare for the night. Fires burn softly beside rivers. Boats rest in quiet harbors. Villages settle into silence. Travelers pause beneath open skies. One by one, the stars emerge above them all. No matter where they live, everyone shares the same celestial ceiling. There is something profoundly comforting about this image. Human history often focuses on differences between cultures, yet the night sky reveals a deeper connection. Across thousands of years, people have asked similar questions. What are the stars? Why do they move? What stories do they tell? What can they teach us about our place in the world? The answers varied, but the curiosity remained remarkably constant. Perhaps that is why ancient astronomy feels so timeless. It reminds us that knowledge begins with attention. Before there were observatories, there were observers. Before there were scientific instruments, there were people willing to sit quietly beneath the stars and notice patterns unfolding overhead. The foundations of human understanding were built not only through invention, but through patience. Imagine lying beneath a sky untouched by artificial light. The Milky Way stretches across the heavens in all its brilliance. Constellations fill every corner of the darkness. The stars seem almost infinite. As you watch them, it becomes easy to understand why so many civilizations regarded the sky with both reverence and affection. The heavens offered beauty without demanding anything in return. They simply invited observation. Even now, despite all we have learned about galaxies, nebulae, planets, and distant stars, the night sky continues to inspire many of the same feelings it inspired thousands of years ago. We understand more about its physical nature, yet its ability to create wonder remains unchanged. A clear sky still encourages reflection. The stars still invite contemplation. The Milky Way still inspires awe. As the hours pass and the constellations continue their slow procession across the heavens, the ancient world seems to gather together beneath a single celestial roof. Egyptians, Greeks, Chinese astronomers, indigenous storytellers, sailors, farmers, travelers, and dreamers all stand side by side within the imagination, united by their shared experience of looking upward into the darkness and finding meaning among the stars. And as the night gradually moves toward its quiet conclusion, we are left with the gentle realization: the greatest story written in the heavens may not belong to any single constellation, civilization, or tradition. It is the story of humanity itself, a story of curiosity, observation, imagination, and wonder carried across generations beneath the same timeless sky. Soon, as dawn slowly approaches, we will step back from the stars one final time and allow the vast night sky to settle softly into memory, just as countless ancient observers once did before the arrival of a new day. The quiet sky that still watches over us. And now, as our journey through the ancient night sky gently comes to an end, let us take one final moment to stand beneath the stars. We have traveled across continents and centuries. We have sat beside the Nile, beneath the heavens of ancient Egypt. We have wandered through the myth-filled skies of Greece. We have followed the careful observations of Chinese astronomers and listened to stories shared beneath indigenous skies across forests, mountains, deserts, and open plains. We have watched the moon measure time, seen the stars mark the seasons, and followed the Milky Way as it stretched across countless cultures like a luminous river connecting humanity through the ages. Yet perhaps the most remarkable discovery of all is not what ancient people believed about the stars. It is the simple fact that they looked up at all. Imagine the Earth thousands of years ago as night slowly settles across its surface. The sun has disappeared beyond the horizon. Fires begin to glow beside rivers and within villages. Travelers pause their journeys. Families gather together after the day's work is complete. Gradually, darkness spreads across forests, mountains, deserts, and coastlines. Then, one by one, the stars begin to appear. The same stars, the same moon, the same Milky Way. Every civilization we have visited throughout this journey lived beneath that shared sky. They interpreted it differently, yet they were united by the same experience of wonder. They stood beneath the heavens and asked questions. They observed patterns. They imagined stories. They searched for meaning among the lights overhead. In doing so, they participated in one of humanity's oldest traditions, looking up. There is something deeply comforting about that continuity. Entire empires have disappeared, languages have changed, cities have risen and fallen, technologies have transformed the way people live. Yet the stars continue their patient journeys across the night sky, much as they always have. The constellations still rise, the moon still follows its familiar cycle. The Milky Way still arches across dark skies wherever the conditions allow it to be seen. Imagine yourself standing in a quiet place far from artificial light. The air is cool. The landscape rests peacefully around you. Above, the heavens stretch in every direction. Thousands of stars shine softly against the darkness. The longer you observe them, the more distant thoughts begin to fade. The mind slows. The pace of the world softens. The sky asks nothing of you except your attention. Perhaps this is why ancient people devoted so much time to observing the heavens. The stars provided knowledge, certainly. They helped mark the seasons and measure time. They guided travelers and inspired stories. But they also offered something less tangible and perhaps even more valuable. They offered perspective. Beneath the night sky, people were reminded that they belonged to a larger world. The concerns of a single day became smaller. The passage of time felt different. Life appeared as part of a much longer story stretching backward through generations and forward into an unknown future. The stars revealed a universe filled not with urgency, but with rhythm. The moon waxed and waned. The constellations returned. The seasons changed. The Milky Way crossed the heavens. Everything moved according to patterns that rewarded patience rather than haste. As modern observers, we possess knowledge that ancient people could scarcely imagine. We understand galaxies, planets, and the immense distances separating the stars. We know that the Milky Way contains billions of suns and that the universe extends far beyond what the eye can see. Yet despite these discoveries, the emotional experience of standing beneath a clear night sky remains surprisingly unchanged. The stars still inspire wonder. The moon still calms the mind. The heavens still invite reflection. In many ways, we are not so different from those ancient observers. We continue looking upward for many of the same reasons. We continue searching for perspective, beauty, and connection. The language of astronomy may have changed, but the feeling remains familiar. And perhaps that is the quiet lesson hidden within this entire journey. The night sky has always belonged to everyone. It belongs to every generation, every culture, and every person who has ever paused beneath the stars and wondered about the world beyond the horizon. The stories may differ, the explanations may evolve, yet the experience itself remains timeless. Now the night is growing deeper and quieter. The stars continue their slow movement across the heavens. The Milky Way glows softly overhead. Somewhere, rivers flow beneath moonlight. Forests rest beneath the darkness. Mountains stand silently against the horizon. Across the world, countless people sleep beneath the same sky that inspired so many stories throughout history. And as you rest beneath that ancient celestial ceiling, allow the stars to become what they have always been for humanity. Gentle companions in the darkness, steady lights in a vast universe, and quiet reminders that wonder still exists wherever we choose to look for it. The constellations continue their patient journey. The moon follows its familiar path. The night remains calm. And above it all, the timeless sky watches silently, just as it has for thousands of years, carrying the stories of humanity among the stars.